I'm going to just take a few moments this morning. Generally like to make these pretty informal to the extent we can take some questions and things at the end. I'm happy to do so. I will share with you a little bit about where we've come and what I generally spend more of my time and get pretty excited about where we're going. Give you a peek at some new ideas and things we're working on and thinking about, shortly joined by a few folks here in the crowd who are very important in helping us drive that forward. And in that regard, give you a little bit of context to set things up about the company in general and our business. Because I think in each and every customer that many of you work with, or each of your individual businesses, there's a lot of interesting technology. There's lots of cool things that one could arguably apply and think about how they work. But it's so fundamental to sort of understand from what context and how your business operates, what your consumers need, and ultimately what you're trying to do with these things that makes, I think, the difference. And so we'll talk a little bit about that. We've been at various elements of service and self-service for some years. So we were one of the early adopters in the industry for using kiosks with IBM in those days, 98, 99, really taking presence in about 2000. We launched the first real version of Total Rewards, and we had proliferated all of these, in today's standards, pretty darn ugly, I might add, kiosks around the company with these kind of crappy looking green screens and all that stuff on there, but highly successful. And we were developing things with our customers and allowing them to get access to rewards, cash, comps, that they would print out a little ticket and then ultimately take it to lots of other venues to be able to redeem for some value. That was a core part of the program. Over the years, we began to try a lot of different kiosks or self-service devices in different venues. Enterprise Promotions, among others, was probably one of the more dramatic in that we created the ability to dynamically do promotional activities. You've all seen Win the Car or the Trip or whatever in certain casinos. This was a enterprise-wide linked set of capabilities that all of these kiosks and front-end devices, as you would play, it would automatically calculate your entries and goal as you go to the kiosk, select whether you wanted to be in the promotion or the drawing that was at 7 o'clock or 9 o'clock, and would it carry the next one forward? And if you won that one, would you then be eligible to win across, let's say, all of Las Vegas or across the entire country? So we got increasingly a lot of learnings and sophistication of that. And I'll tell you, when these things didn't work, there's a great example of customers literally, I was in a casino more than a few times, stuff didn't work, they would throw stuff at you. Yes, they would throw their cards at you, they would call you interesting names, not to be repeated, and the like. So over the years, again, you develop this thick skin, but also some learnings out of that says, boy, I don't like when that happens. We've got to be really smart about how we make this stuff work and make it stay up and the like. So next round of different cash, kiosk kinds of approaches, much thinner, much more able to manage on the back end, kind of web-looking technologies, much more flexible. Another set of initiatives we then began to pursue about 3 or 4 years ago was about, we've done a reasonably good job, we thought, over the years about this idea of pre-trip, post-trip, analytical CRM, and increasingly trying to make some decent transactional experiences for the customer on property. Now we wanted to get a little more sophisticated. What could we do when the customer was there? How could we change what we call the moment of truth? And we came up with some concepts that we called operational CRM. There was an architectural initiative called HARTS, and a number of capabilities. Stands for Harrah's Enterprise Active Relation Transaction System. Yes, we are geeks, but HARTS seemed kind of cool at the time. And the idea here was that we could actually increasingly use lots of this transactional data. Remember, I talked a little bit about data before. We store, I'll say everything. It's a bit of an overstatement. We store a lot of stuff, and we store a lot of that transactional data for many, many reasons, performance, analytics, analytical CRMs, I said. But now we began to think about how could we create rules engines and scenarios on top of that that would allow us to more dynamically create some sort of outcome. So when a customer happened to come to the property, in a simple and very real example that we do today, and it's your birthday, these rules engines and stuff look behind the scenes. They see that you're playing. You're at slot machine number 1, 2, 3. Somebody will actually come out and recognize you, tell you happy birthday, and often sing, or we bring little cakes and some of the properties and the like. It's called Total Touch. Most recently, we announced a big project called Prism, which is the commercialized version of this and going out. And the idea is, it's a little tough to see in the picture, but through a display, two-way interactive screen, and an identification mechanism, which today is your Total Rewards card. Tomorrow will be a number of other means to do that. you interact with that game and it knows you. It knows you on the back end through our systems and capabilities. And if you happen to step up, it may be playing a unique advertising or a loop or welcome or whatever. But as you put your card in and identify yourself, if you're a 7 stars customer, lots of pretty cool stuff happens. If you happen to be a gold or a diamond customer, neat stuff happens, but they may not be quite as cool. So we purposely differentiate the look, the feel, the experience by your tier or your value to us. And in that regard, you can actually do a number of interesting things. Certainly track your points and see how your play is going, and are you earning additional reward credits for the play. But then we began to try a number of other experiments to see what would really appeal to customers. And there were 2 or 3 that really popped.